So now, I'm not sure exactly how to take this apart, but we'll see. Looks like we've got some very rusty screws. A screw head. Yeah. That does not look good. Hopefully these fasteners don't just snap off when I try and turn them out, but they probably will. So yeah, it looks like there's going to be some fun in getting that apart. Well, first step is going to be to soak it with something, so... I'll let that soak, and hopefully those will come out without snapping off. Hopefully. So one of the things that you're going to have to do to get this whole thing apart is undo these connectors. This one, which is the relay for the trailer brake control, that one's pretty easy. This one is the fuel pump control module. Now, it is extremely tight, and I'm really worried about breaking it. It's probably full of dirt, sitting under here for years, getting packed full of mud and salt and whatever. The problem is I really don't want to break this, because if I do, I'm stuffed. This is what controls your fuel pump, and if anything goes wrong in here, the truck's not going to run anymore. This stuff's kind of irrelevant, but this is pretty critical, so be careful when you're taking this apart not to break this connector. And there you have it. I got it off, but as you can see, that connector was packed full of dirt, and that's why it was so stiff. I used a penetrant, just a light sort of oil, and sprayed in here, and then worked it back and forth. Eventually it came loose, and of course I'll clean that up really good before I put it back on. But in the case of this one, the same sort of thing happened, and I ended up breaking it. I've since used a product called Q-Bond and glued it all back together. Hopefully that'll stay. This one's not nearly as critical, obviously, as that is being your fuel pump module. You don't want any problems there. So yeah, there's just a tip there. Spray some penetrant on the sort of latching mechanism, and that'll loosen it up. Okay, so here we are back again, attempting to remove this, this trailer brake control module. So the thing about these is these are an inverted Torx. This is the kind of bit that you need to do it, or you get to the back side over up here, but of course these fasteners are screw heads, and they are completely and utterly rusted and destroyed. So the only alternative I think I have is to remove this whole pan and then go at these screw heads with some sort of a, I don't know, an extractor or something, maybe drill the heads off. But in order to do that, we need to remove this pan, this whole mounting bracket, which appears to be held on with 3 bolts, one here and 2 on the frame rail here. So that is the next thing we're going to go after. Okay, so I'm just taking off the first bolt for the tray that holds these modules in place. It is a 10mm head bolt. Seems to be coming out all right. Now, another thing I've learned about these modules, both the trailer brake control module and the fuel pump module right next to it, is one of the major reasons for the failure with them has to do with the fact of where they're sitting right down here, where all the water and salt and snow and ice and shit gets blown up on top of them, and then it sits on top of the modules there, and eventually once the seals are compromised, the water seeps in and kills them. So while we've got these things out, and when I put the new trailer brake module in there, I think I'm going to run a bead of sealant around the outside to try and prevent that from happening. Okay, so that's one down, and two more to go. Those ones are in there on the frame rail. Alright, so here we are. The bolts are all out, and this is now loose. So you just sort of slide it back. Mind all the rust falling in your face. And just like that, little stupid thing comes out. Alright. Alright, so now you can kind of see why these things would trap water, and eventually, once these seals and the rubber, because I think these are just rubber sealed around the perimeter and this cover, the seals get compromised over time from expansion and contraction and the heat cycles, and the water just seeps in, and salty water from places like where I live wreak havoc with electronics and cause corrosion inside, and that's what kills them. So the next step is going to be to get these rusty bolts out of here. Okay, so here we are. This is really the only alternative that is working to get these corroded bolts out, and it is not fun, so it's going to take a while. Okay, so of course, as always, the most corroded bolts, or whatever these things are, was right in the area where you can't get any access to it, or very little, because that module is in the way. That relay module, and of course the relay module bolts, same situation again, are underneath, so you can't get access to those either. Luckily, you only have to loosen it. You don't actually have to completely take it out. And I did manage to loosen it, because then it's on a slot. You pull it out of the slot, and like magic, it's out. So there we go. Took way too much work to get that out. And yeah, next part is programming the new module. Well, next part is putting it back in here, stuffing it all back in the truck, and then programming the new module, and then hoping that this is what actually fixes the problem, because I'm not sure. Okay, so in continuing to diagnose this trailer brake warning system fault on this 2008 GMC, I have just purchased this trailer brake control module. That's the TBCM. It came from Amazon and was approximately $86, I think, and some odd in Canadian dollars. So there it is. Looks like the right unit. Alright, let's put it in. So, like I was saying before, because of where these modules are situated, they tend to be prone to failure because of water ingress from the seal back here, which is a sort of foam rubber seal from what I can feel. So, in order to hopefully prevent that from happening again, I'm going to run a bead of silicone around the end, and hopefully that'll help to seal it up. Okay, so it doesn't look pretty, it's kind of messy, but hopefully effective. And I just used Permatex Black. You can use whatever.
Yeah, so at this point in the video, I'm just reinstalling the tray assembly that mounts the trailer brake control module and the fuel pump module. Really, there wasn't a whole lot to it. It was just a sort of a frustrating process trying to fit the thing back in place and blindly fumbling with the bolts, but yeah, eventually got done, and there's not much more to say about that.